Well, welcome to Sleep House, folks. Thanks for joining me. This is the opportunity to sit and listen to the Word of God be read and commented on. And you have a really busy life, this is the channel you can come to and spend some time with the Lord. And we'll be in Genesis chapter 22. We were in 21 the last time, which was the birth of Isaac. This time we will be with the sacrifice of Isaac, where God tests Abraham. And here's how it reads. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took two of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. On the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go over there and worship. Sorry, the pages are sticking together. Hold on. There we go. I and the boy will go there and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. He said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Great question. Abraham said, God will provide for himself the land for a burnt offering, my son. Do you see the projection to the cross in that statement? Did God provide the lamb for the burnt offering? He sure did. And he did it in the incarnation and the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. So they went, both of them together. When they came to the place of which God had told him, Abraham built the altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. Imagine how difficult that must have been. Now, I've heard some theologians say that Abraham, and there's some scripture to back it up, that Abraham believed that even if he slayed Isaac, that God would resurrect Isaac and raise him back up again. Verse 11. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram, caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, The Lord Will Provide. as it is said to this day, on the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, by myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son. I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring as the stars of heaven, and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your offspring shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Now, I'll be in verse 19 in a moment, but think about that statement. What was the purpose of the offspring of Abraham? It was to bless all the nations. Why do we miss that? And get this idea that God only exclusively has interest in and blessing for Israel. But the Gentile nations are all just left out. When he stated to Abraham that the purpose of Isaac, the purpose of his descendants, and the nation that would be formed out of him was to bless all the nations of the earth. And how would that happen? It would happen through the seed of Abraham. And who is the seed of Abraham? Jesus Christ. Verse 19. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived at Beersheba. Now after these things, it was told to Abraham, behold, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor. Uz is firstborn. Buz is his brother. Kumael, the father of Abraham. Sheshed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel fathered Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. Moreover, his concubine, whose name was Reumah, bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. And that is Genesis chapter 22. Let me mark my place in my Bible real quick, and then we will move on from there. I have these neat little markers I got at Hobby Lobby. Pretty neat. I like these. And that they split apart so when they catch the page, they don't fall out of the Bible, which is nice. I have to be careful how I put them on though, because they will mess up the page if I'm not careful. There we go. All right. Moving on to the next reading. And that should be Psalms. No, not Psalms. Proverbs. This will be Proverbs 13. And of course, Proverbs is a wisdom book. And so let's listen and see if we can't gain some wisdom. Now, you don't gain this wisdom simply by the head knowledge of it. You also gain it through the experience of it. It's good to understand it and to try to follow that wisdom. But as God brings experiences into our lives, we learn these proverbs even better. Proverbs 13, verse 1. A wise son hears his father's instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of his mouth, a man eats what is good, but the desire of the treacherous is for violence. Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. The righteous hates falsehood, but the wicked brings shame and disgrace. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless, but sin overthrows the wicked. One pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. The ransom of a man's life is his wealth, but a poor man hears no threat. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. By insolence comes nothing but strife, but with those who take advice is wisdom. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Now that's a good one. Because something that's gained quickly can also be lost quickly. But something that's gained over time typically is not lost quickly. Because it's a learned discipline. And once you learn the discipline, you conduct yourself in a different way when you handle your finances. I'm trying to find where I left off. Excuse me. All right, we'll pick up at 5. The righteous hates falsehood, but the wicked brings shame and disgrace. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless, but sin overthrows the wicked. One pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. The ransom of a man's life is his wealth, but a poor man hears no threat. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. By insolence comes nothing but strife, but with those who take advice is wisdom. Wealth gained hastily, there it is, will dwindle. But whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. Whoever despises the word brings destruction on himself, but he who reveres the commandment will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, that one may turn away from the snares of death. Good sense wins favor, but the way of the treacherous is their ruin. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool flaunts his folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful envoy brings healing. Poverty and disgrace come to him who ignores instruction, But whoever heeds reproof is honored. Excuse me. Let me try it again. Poverty and disgrace come to him who ignores instruction, but whoever heeds reproof is honored. A desire fulfilled is sweet to the soul, but to turn away from evil is an abomination to fools. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. Disaster pursues disaster pursues sinners, but the righteous are rewarded with good. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. The fallow ground of the poor would yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. The righteous has enough to satisfy his appetite, but the belly of the wicked suffers want. And that is the end of Proverbs 13. So the idea there's, I didn't comment a whole lot on those. I've commented on them before in previous videos. The idea there is just listen to those proverbs and consider how they apply to your life. Are there things in there that you could gain from? There was a lot of financial wisdom, for example, toward the end of that proverb. Some things to pay attention to because we make a lot of financial mistakes in our day in this time that we live. All right. We're going to the Song of Solomon in the next reading. And it looks like it's going to be Song of Solomon, chapter 5. I think we did 4 the last time. All right. So, as you recall from before, the Song of Solomon is basically a love song. It's the only love song that's a book in the Bible. And so, what an interesting read this really is. And so, this is Solomon. Uh, this song is written to one of his wives, probably his favorite wife. He had a bunch of them, which shows you that even the most famous people in the Bible can have many flaws. Chapter 5. And this is Solomon speaking, or the male speaking in the song. I came to my garden, my sister, my bride. I gathered my myrrh with my spice. I ate my honeycomb with my honey. I drank my wine with my milk. Others are speaking now. Eat, friends, drink, and be drunk with love. Now she is speaking. She searches for her beloved. I slept, but my heart was awake. A sound, my beloved is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my perfect one. For my head is wet with dew, my locks with the drops of the night. I had put off my garment. How could I put it on? I had bathed my feet. How could I soil them? My beloved, put his hand to the latch, and my heart was thrilled within me. I arose to open to my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with liquid myrrh on the handles of the boat. I opened to my beloved, and my beloved had turned and gone. My soul failed me when he spoke. I sought him, but found him not. I called him, but he gave no answer. The watchmen found me as they went about in the city. They beat me, they bruised me, they took away my veil, those watchmen on of the walls. I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, if you find my beloved, that you tell him, I am sick with love. Now others are speaking. What is your beloved more than any? What is your beloved more than another beloved? O most beautiful among women. What is your beloved more than another beloved, that you thus adjure us? Now she is speaking. She praises her beloved. My beloved is radiant and ruddy, distinguished among 10,000. His head is the finest gold. His locks are wavy, black as a raven. Oh, gotta be careful here. Trying to turn the page and it wants to rip. There we go. Take that. Sorry, I gotta move this over. I'll take care of that later. All right, there we go. Verse 12. His eyes are like doves beside streams of water, bathed in milk, sitting beside a full pool. His cheeks are like beds of spices, mounds of sweet-smelling herbs. His lips are lilies dripping liquid myrrh. His arms are rods of gold set with jewels. His body is polished ivory, bedecked with sapphires. His legs are alabaster columns, set on bases of gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as the cedars. His mouth is most sweet. He is altogether desirable. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. And that was Song of Solomon, chapter 5. I think we have there's 6, 7. Trying to remember how many chapters are in here. We don't have too many to go. Come on. Pages are sticking. I have a brand new Bible, and the pages are sticking on it. All right. Yeah. So we have 3 more chapters to go, and then we'll be in another book. All right. So that'll conclude this reading, and in the next reading, I'll get into the New Testament. There will be an apocalyptic book, and then the New Testament. God bless you guys. I will see you at the next reading, and thank you for tuning in here on the C Files, and we'll be with you the next time we go into the scriptures.